Hello, I'm Rabia, and today I have the privilege and the pleasure of interviewing my fellow student, buddy supporter, and dear friend Sundus. So, in our December 2024 Universal Bliss Succeed live session, Ashraf shared Sundus's recent success with the students. And Ashraf was very impressed with her accomplishment and achievement and found her story fascinating. Ashraf is always very interested in those people who step into unrecognizable version of themselves and live into unimaginable visions of their lives. So therefore, in that session, Ashraf wanted to know more about Sundus and her success story. So he suggested that I interview her, and that's why we are here today. Sundus and I have been support buddies for many years, and together we have been learning and growing and developing. And I too am very impressed and proud of her recent achievement. So I'm very pleased to have Sundus join us today, and we have time to do this interview. Sundus, we appreciate you being here and sharing your success story. Welcome.
Thanks so much, Rabia. It's very thoughtful of Ashraf to suggest this interview in recognition of my recent achievement and accomplishment. So thanks to Ashraf and thanks to you as well. I'm looking forward to this interview this afternoon.
Same here, same here. I've been part of your journey and I'm also really looking forward to it. Sundus, in less than 10 months, you have created and sold two pieces of fiber art, which fetched high prices at an exhibition hosted by Art School Africa. And what I find so amazing about it is that this was a self-taught hobby, that you learned in the last year or so. And the cherry on the top is that your art was selected by Art School Africa to be exhibited in their summer exhibition. And you were one of the 27 artists selected from over 100 talented artists spanning all corners of the African continent. And what I find even more amazing is that your pieces were sold one before the opening of the exhibition, and the second one was sold the night before the exhibition opened at the VIP event. This is quite an extraordinary achievement. Well done, especially for someone who did not study art. But in fact, you have an undergraduate Bachelor of Social Science degree from the University of Cape Town, and you have a postgraduate qualification in advertising, marketing, communications, also from the University of Cape Town. And you've worked in advertising for 11 years in national and international well-known agencies and JSC listed companies as well. So this recent success is both outstanding and like unbelievable. For me, it like boggles my mind. Now listeners will understand why Ashraf insisted on this interview and this incredible story of yours, Sundus, for it to be told. If you were just selected to be featured in this exhibition, that would be a feat in itself. But as an outsider, you were not only featured to be exhibited, but you were also sold out at high prices before the official opening of the exhibition. So this is truly remarkable, Sundus. Well done again. And thank you so much for making yourself available to share about your very inspirational success story and the secrets behind your success.
Yeah, no, it's wow, thanks. That's such a great intro. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm happy to be here and share my experience. I'm thankful to Ashraf for the opportunity. I've been looking forward to it since Ashraf mentioned it. I feel privileged to have this opportunity to be interviewed as Ashraf's student. I've been on the other side listening to other inspiring students, so it's feels a bit surreal to be on the side this time.
Yes, and enjoy it. You've put in a lot of energy into this and you deserve it. So, Sundus, if it was a year ago and I told you that within a year you would be a professional artist in an area that you are yet to discover and have sold two of your art creations through an exhibition for over 30,000 Rand, would you have believed it?
Probably not. I'd have pondered the possibility, but probably not.
So you've stepped into what Ashraf says is the currently unrecognizable future version of you who is living a currently unimaginable future experience of life. And Sundus, can you tell us what is fiber art and how did you get involved in it and how did these two pieces come into being?
Yeah, so fiber art is also known as textile art. It refers to sort of fine art created using natural or synthetic fibers, textiles, or other materials such as fabric and yarn. It also has ancient roots and cultural significance. If you think of like tapestries and things like that, and these artworks form deep symbolism and importance to their cultures. But even today, fiber artists tell their stories and express themselves similarly through weaving and other textile practices such as embroidery or, like I mentioned, tapestry. It's made a bit of a resurgence during the pandemic, and it's now forecasted to be the next big thing in the art world, especially with the rise of AI. Fiber art is something AI cannot do. Whereas I've seen AI art painting machines create painted works, AI can't create fiber art, at least not right now. So yeah. So I think that's also another reason why I've seen and heard multiple art forecasters say it's going to be quite big. How I got into it, so I think it was a few years ago. I was, working on tapping into my creative side. I grew up as a child. I was very creative, and then going into high school and university, we sort of like trained to go into the left brain. And in recent years, I've been wanting to go back into my right brain and work with my creative bone again. So I started doing all sorts of different stuff, and then I gave rope jewelry a shot, trying to making rope jewelry. I purchased this course to do. So I was walking to this rope shop in Cape Town. And on the way there, I walked past a shop called Mango. And looking through the door, there was someone sitting at a weaving loom and like weaving, and that had all these weaving like blankets and stuff hung up. And I was just so drawn to it. And I stopped and I asked them, do you teach weaving? And they said, no, they don't teach it, but I can contact the Cape Guild of Weavers if I want to learn how to weave. So I thought, okay, cool. And then I immediately did that. I looked up Cape Guild of Weavers. I immediately, contacted them and joined, and I started doing, learning how to weave on a loom. And I started like on a small inkle loom for 6 months making bands, and then I moved on to a rigid heddle, and then onto like a 4 shaft, and then an 8 shaft loom. And I remember my weaving teacher asked me when I started, what is my intent? What would I like to get out of this? What is my plan? What's my intention? And I said to her, I'd like to move into the creative field. I'd like to become an artist. I'm not sure in what, how, where. So for now, I'm learning different methodologies, and learning the different skills, and I'm going to see where it takes me.
Mhm.
And so during that time of weaving, I started following different artists on Instagram, and I came across lots of fiber artists. So I was sort of quite inspired by what different fiber artists, were doing. And I had this old picture frame that was laying around. The glass had broken, so I'd taken the picture out, and I just had this frame, and something just told me, keep this frame. You're going to do something with this frame, and it was sort of laying there and laying there. And then eventually, January of last year, I quit my job cold turkey with no backup plan. I was just, God, you guide me. And this frame was laying there, and I thought, okay, let me do something with this frame. I just felt inspired to do something with it. And I had some embroidery thread at that time. And so I just started weaving over this frame. This is, I guess you could call it off loom weaving. This isn't loom weaving, which is what I was doing. So I had some embroidery thread, and it took me about 6 hours to do, because I was sort of teaching myself and figuring out how to do this. And I think I finished at like 4 a.m. or something like that. And I was quite pleased with the end result. I've got it here if you'd like to see it.
Oh wow,
It's,
that's so pretty.
yeah,
I love the colors.
thank you. So this was the very first piece I did. Um, yeah, so I quite enjoyed it. And even though it took me really long to do, and I was like, okay, there's something here. I quite enjoy this process. I like making things. I
Mhm.
like the end result. And I tried again and again and found a better method and a better way of doing it, and getting a better end result. And so I did quite a number of little ones on upcycle picture frames. And then I moved on to canvas, and then I started buying canvases and moved on to canvas, and I did quite a lot on canvas. And then I moved on to using cotton. And then my next step is I realized, I want the large format, but I didn't really need the actual canvas on there. I just needed the frame. So I started, figuring out how to build my own frames. I kind of just did it. I just bought the wood, cut at Builder's Warehouse and had electric drill and put it together. And then I started with wool, and like, wanted to move on to large formats with wool. So I did it step by step. Like Ashraf says, do what you can with what you have now. So that's what I did, step by step. I expanded at every step before I moved on to the next. Now I fulfilled my efficacy at every level. I used my God-given ability. Like I said, I started with an old picture frame and embroidery thread that I had at home, and now I'm doing large scale pieces with pure wool. So yeah, that's how it can be.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I love your story and your journey. And, I personally haven't heard of fiber art before. So you've opened my world or my awareness as well to different type of art. And thank you for sharing your first piece as well. It's really stunning. Um, so, Sundus, if you have photographs of the work of your art pieces that are currently exhibited, can you display them on the screen for us, please?
Of course, here you go. Let me know when you can see it.
Yes, we can. Thank you so much. So can you please take us through them? Like, take a few moments to talk about these pieces. You can tell us the name, the colors, the dimensions, and the inspiration behind each piece, and how much each piece was sold for.
Yeah, sure. So this first piece is called Home. It's about 83 centimeter by 50. And it was inspired by the colors of Africa and Malawi, where I grew up. And it's also reflected in the colors of my apartment that I live in. So the shades of brown and beige represent the earth, and the red is symbolic of the infamous African sun. The green represents both the lush tropical greenery of Malawi as well as all the plants inside my home. And the gray represents Malawi's tropical rain, and the ivory represents the tusks of the African elephants. And then all these woven together forms the African landscape and my home within. And this was priced and sold for 15,000 Rand gross. And then the second piece called Winter, and this is it here. These pictures are up at the gallery at the exhibition where it currently is. So Winter is 1 meter high by 70 centimeters wide, and it aims to capture the essence of a South African winter. The green symbolizes life and renewal, and the yellow represents the sunlight breaking through cooler days. The ivory evokes the softness of morning mists, and the charcoal adds depth and symbolizes dark soil and peaceful winter nights. The earthy tones grounds the work and represents stability, tradition, and the land's connection to nature. And of course, the chunky wool mimics the comforting warmth of a winter blanket, and offering you a sense of protection and coziness, just as a blanket would shield us from the cold. And overall, it sort of, when you look at it, I'd like it to wrap you in a calm, earthy warmth of the winter season, expressing the quiet beauty and renewal of an African winter. And this one was priced and sold for 18,000 Rand.
Wow, they're such beautiful pieces and so unique as well. So thank you so much. I love what you shared about each piece, the story, the inspiration, the colors, and I think that, the owners of these pieces are really going to enjoy displaying them in their homes or offices or wherever it is. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. It's
Thanks. I've got to add, this one is 100% pure unspun wool, and then
Yes.
Winter, and then Home is 100% pure South African merino wool.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So Sundus, what are the events that led up to both your art pieces being selected, exhibited, and sold?
So I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw a post for an open call, and it was Art School Africa's summer exhibition. It was the inaugural exhibition, and it was for emerging artists up till the age of 35, from 18 to 35, and I was 34 at the time. So I thought this is like my one and only shot to get in to enter and get featured, and I just felt drawn to this particular open call there. I've seen other ones before, but there was something about this one I just felt, I had to enter. And you could enter up to 2 pieces. So I entered one, which was Home. And then I didn't hear back by the time they said they would get back to us. I thought, maybe I didn't get in. And then I got an email saying they've gotten so many entries, they haven't had the time to go through it all. by the deadline. So they've given us another month. And if we would like to, if we've only entered one and you can enter two, you can enter another one. So I took that opportunity to enter a second piece, which was winter. And then again, they didn't get back to me by the next deadline, the extended deadline. And I was feeling sort of a bit despondent. And I thought, okay, well, it's okay. I didn't get in. And then I got the email saying that both my pieces were selected. And they had over 100 applicants, and I was one of 27 that they selected. But I worked with it from the time of entry until I was selected. You held a vision for me as well, and I practice non-attachment. I made it okay to not be selected. I wasn't attached to it. I was a little disappointed when I thought I didn't get in, but I was okay with it. I thought, I can always enter these pieces into something else. And yeah, so that's how it led to the exhibition.
Yes, thank you again for sharing that as well. I love how you so committed to it. Like you said, like, when they extended the deadline, you didn't say, okay, I'm just going to leave one, as just submit the one piece and leave it at that. You use the opportunity and you selected another piece. So I like your commitment and I like your dedication, and it shows, that is also one of the contributing factors to your success as well. So since this is unheard of, especially since this is not your profession, from being a hobbyist to as recent interest in fiber art, becoming a professional artist, I think this is really incredible, and I'm sure the listeners will agree. And I know you personally, and I know that you have a passion for crafts and art, and you generally have very creative ideas, and you manually dexterous. And I remember the polymer clay earring making class that we attended together, the one that you invited me to join. So we can see that being creative is really a passion for you. It's an expression of your true self, as Ashraf describes in his teachings. Having said that, this doesn't generally account for the success that you are experiencing. So can you please tell us, like, what is your secret? How did you do this?
Yeah, it's been, like I said, it's been a process. It's been quite a while. Like Ashraf explains the concept of the bamboo shoot, which then grows into a bamboo tree that, for 10 years it lays its root and you don't see it. And then suddenly the bamboo shoots up and grows, I don't know how fast, how many centimeters every day. So it was sort of a little bit like that. I think a big part of, so I'll mention some of the a big larger universal bliss teachings that sort of supported me in this. I think a big one was getting into the identity of an artist. Ashraf taught us, how to get into the identity of what we'd like. So, I researched galleries and other artists. I was inspired by other artists and their journeys. I invested in my craft. And because I'm in the identity of it, I don't have imposter syndrome with this like I've had with other things. When people ask me what I do, I proudly say I'm an artist. I own it. I value it. I'm proud of it. Just because I don't paint doesn't mean I'm not an artist. In fact, I know artists who are painters telling me they're inspired by me. And like I explained earlier, what fiber art is, there's many different forms of art, not just painting, like some people may think. The 6 stages of transformational change was very supportive as well. The 6 processes of the Ashraf Murad inspiration coaching. I worked with this in our UB Buddy replays. That was really also very supportive. Listening to the Universal Bliss live sessions, replaying it, working with our issues and sharing it with each other. And Ashraf also shared, being a winner. And that was also very inspiring to me. And I claimed being a winner. I didn't know how we win, what I was going to be a winner with, but being a winner, I claimed that for myself. And just to go back a little bit to to your previous question again about the exhibition, I think I stopped a little bit earlier. So it got selected and it was put up at the exhibition. And once I got the news that I was selected and it was going to be exhibited, then I started really getting into the energy of that and dreaming that up. I saw the exhibition in my, I saw it being a really high class, high caliber, quality event, on a almost like an international standard. I saw what I was going to wear. I saw who was going to be there with me. I saw, and it turned out to be even better than I'd imagined. There was like a live band and there was amazing food and waiters and the way that it was set up was was just so like stunning. It was, I'd encourage anyone that's in Cape Town to go view it. And closer to the time, I also saw both pieces being sold on so there was what's called a VIP night, which is before it opened. So it's to invite the art collectors, sort of giving them first look at the pieces, and so they have first option to buy. And so that night, we all went, and it was like a formal cocktail evening, and I also saw my parents being there, and my father travels a lot, so he's not always around. So it worked out, he was there as well. And I really could see both my parents then being very proud and feeling very proud to show them as well, because they didn't know much about it. I didn't tell my father anything. My mother knew like a little bit. So they were both very surprised and elated at it. So that I think was a very proud moment for me. And I wish I could have, invited so many more people to come. I wanted to invite everyone to see, but I was only allowed 2+1. So I used that, 3. So I used it for my parents and my husband. But it turned out, I was in such a high energy at the event. I felt like it was my own solo exhibition, even though I was one of like 27. And if you see like videos and photos, I was the one smiling the biggest. And, it was almost like it was my exhibition.
Every reason to.
Yeah. And I just saw both pieces being sold that night. And when I got there, the founder of Art School Africa told me one of your pieces is sold already before the event. And then at the event, the other one was sold. So I wasn't surprised when I found that out, because I sort of dreamed it into being, and I claimed it as such. And I also saw myself sharing the story with my fellow Universal Bliss buddies in the class. And I didn't know it would come and interview and all of this. I thought I would just share it in class when Ashraf asked, do you have anything to share? So I saw that happening as well. So I sort of dreamed it into being, from there onwards.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing that and sharing your secret with us, and what you used in your journey, especially from the teachings. And so what you shared with us are some of the elements of the practical success teachings that are taught by Ashraf Murad. So listeners, what has been shared here is the copyrighted intellectual property of Ashraf Murad, and all rights are reserved. And what was shared here today was with his permission. So Sundus, where can people see your pieces of art currently? And can you tell us how long it will be available to be viewed?
Yeah, so it's up until the 16th of March. It opened in December, and it's open on certain days. If you go to my Instagram, which is just at Sundus Al Talib, my pinned post shows the dates that it's open and the address and everything. It's a Kenilworth Racecourse. The entrance is free. It's called the Art School Africa Cape Racing Summer Exhibition. So when you go into Kenilworth Racecourse, you can just ask them to direct you to it.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Would you like to tell the listeners about the Saturday event on the 1st of February, the walk? I can't remember exactly the terminology, but I saw it on your Instagram story.
Yes, so there's going to be, so there's a chance they've created an event for anyone who'd like to sort of come and meet the artists and view the exhibition. And it will be on the 1st of February from 10 to 11:30. So you're welcome. Anyone who is welcome to come. Entrance is free. And you'll get to meet the artists. We'll do a walk around, and you can get to see the exhibition as well.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I've already RSVP'd, so I will be there on Saturday. And I'm very excited about that. As soon as, can you tell the listeners how they can contact you if they want to buy your art or commission you?
Yes, of course. So like I mentioned earlier, you're welcome to follow me on Instagram, and you can DM me there. So I share quite often on Instagram, especially on my stories. You can DM me on Instagram, or my email, which is my name.surname@gmail.com. So it's sundus.altalib@gmail.com. Or if you're in my Universal Buddies group, on our WhatsApp group, my number is there as well.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And Sisunis, what is next for you? Like, what are you creating for yourself as an upcoming budding artist? Like, what is in the pipeline? Can you share that with us, please?
Yes, well, I'd like to be represented by an international gallery. I think that's sort of my next big dream, and then to exhibit internationally as well. I think maybe my short-term goal is two of my goals is to exhibit at the Investec Art Fair. That is like a big dream of mine, as well as to exhibit internationally, especially at the Abu Dhabi Art Fair. So I'm putting that out there. Please hold a vision for me.
See it for you already. It's done.
Thank you. And yeah, so before the exhibition opened, I think it was the morning of the VIP night. This curator from a big gallery had been hired to put up the pieces, and she phoned me and she was saying she's been putting up my work and she really loved it and she'd love to meet with me and everything. And yeah, so that was such an amazing feeling as well, that I was approached by a gallery and I didn't at that time go out and look for one and send my and all of that. So yeah, nothing's come from that yet. We're still in talks and stuff, but yeah, I'd love to be represented by an international gallery and yeah, see where that goes. I think that would be a big dream of mine. And I'm working on a few other big pieces as well. They're a little bit different to what is currently being exhibited, but still within the realm of fiber art. The one I'm doing on a loom, it's made with copper wire as the warp. It's going to be about 4.5 to 5 meters long. I don't think it's ever been done before. I haven't seen anyone do it. It's something I sort of just dreamed up, and we kind of figured it out as we went along. And a loom is not built for copper wire. It's built for like yarn. So it's been quite challenging, but an interesting challenge.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, and it's called Jannah, which means heaven, and it's the concept's based on the 7 heavens. And making it has been quite challenging. So it sort of reminded me of the challenges of life in order to get to heaven in a way. And another piece I'm busy with is using weaving and winding with rope as well. That's the second piece I'm busy with. And another one is also something very different, where I'm also doing more wrapping than weaving on sort of wooden dowels and laying that out. And the idea behind that was there's a big rise in digital art as well. So I sort of wanted to take the dimension that you see in digital art, but create it with fiber, which is quite challenging because with digital art, you can sort of create anything, I guess. So it's my first time doing this. I'm just kind of figuring it out and playing with color and see where it goes. So I'm having quite a bit of fun doing that. And yeah, we'll see where that goes.
Wow, that is so wonderful. Like I've seen some snippets of the piece that you mentioned first on your Instagram story, and it looks so pretty. I love the colors, and I didn't realize it was something you created. Like you explained the story, like it hasn't been done before. I think it's going to be an amazing piece, and we're looking forward to, seeing these pieces of art on completion and the vision that you have for yourself, that we hold that space for you as well and hold that vision for you. And so on behalf of Ashraf and the fellow students, we are very proud of you and we wish you every further success, and we hold a vision for you, living your best life by being your best self. And so thank you very much, Sundus. I'm so glad that we've got this opportunity today. And I know that you are busy and I'm also very busy. And you've really inspired me. And I'm not just saying this because you're my buddy, but I really am very inspired by your story and your journey. And I'm sure the listeners will be inspired by your success story as well. And I'm very proud of you as my buddy. And I should tell you that he's very proud of you as, as your teacher. And so before we end the session, Sundus, is there any final words that you'd like to say?
Yeah, Ashraf's teachings have saved my life. Quite honestly, I've been a student for many, many years. I think if it wasn't for Ashraf's teachings, I don't know where I'd be today, if I would even be alive today. Um, I've had quite a challenging life. I had many challenges in my life, and I still do. But the teachings work, and to use the teachings and work with it, and we've been blessed with it and guided to it. And I just feel so privileged to have been guided to these teachings and to have these teachings and to have Ashraf in my life. And yeah, some of the other principles I can share that I've applied was, valuing, and I valued what I did and my work, and the feedback from others reflected this. I didn't downgrade myself or my work or think it's not good enough or that it's ugly. I know there's always room to do better and be better, but I owned where I was now, like I mentioned earlier, about taking things step by step and fulfilling your efficacy at each level. I think a lot of the times we want to, and I myself was guilty of this, to want to be perfect when we start. We want to start and it must be perfect. And if we can't, it's not perfect, we sort of give up. So that step-by-step teaching of Ashraf was really very valuable for me. And I really applied that. And I reminded myself, this is where I am now. This is what I have now. I will go to the next level once I fulfill this level. I allowed myself to be vulnerable. I didn't act like a know-it-all. Ashraf taught us the power in, healthy vulnerability. And like I shared earlier, I dreamed it into being. I saw myself sharing the story. I saw my parents at the exhibition being proud. I saw what I was wearing, how I'd feel. I dreamt and felt it into being. I saw and claimed that both pieces would be sold that evening. The quality and caliber of the event was higher than I'd imagined. And overall, it was better than I imagined. Like I said, I felt like it was my own exhibit. I was the most blissful person there. I practiced non-attachment. I made the alternative okay. It's okay if the pieces I made didn't get chosen for the exhibition. There's other exhibitions I can enter into. It's okay if it didn't get sold, but it would have been nice. So make yourself okay with the current reality before and then you can go into the preferred. I expressed appreciation. I showed up at a high level of myself after the event. I emailed everyone and I said to them, thank you so much. It was an amazing event. I really appreciate being selected and being a part of it. And, just show appreciation and give, feedback. And people always appreciate that and want that. I think even for myself, every time someone says, especially when I was like first starting, when people would give me feedback about my work, in the beginning I was quite surprised. I was like, wow, do you really think it's that amazing? Is it really that nice? And it just meant so much. It would literally make back my whole week, and it still does. So when people give me feedback about it, I think as creators we often our biggest critic. So for me, I think because of the teachings, I sort of just enjoy the process of it and what it gives me. And I'm not attached to each piece as well. I don't make it for myself. I make it for the person that it's going to. And I just see them looking at it with love and appreciation, and seeing the love and valuing I put into when I make it. I make it with high energy, and I make it with a lot of love, and I visualize the end owner of the piece when I'm making it, and I just see them loving it and appreciating it and feeling the high energy that I've made it with. And so I think if like you said, I didn't go to art school. I didn't even think that one day I'd be an artist. I think if you can follow the teachings and dream, anything's possible. Just entertain the possibility, ponder the possibility, like what if that was possible for you? And, you don't even have to, if you look at people that we know, like maybe Oprah, and you see where she's come from and where she is, don't think if you told 10-year-old Oprah that she'd be the world's richest woman and biggest talk show host and biggest everything, that she would have believed you. Maybe she would, because I think 10-year-old Oprah was a big dreamer as well. But my point is, like, if someone can go from there to there, to where she is, I think it's possible for anyone. I think you just need to really believe it for yourself. And I've always been a dreamer in a sense. Since I was a child, I sort of, dreamt big things for myself. And as an adult, I think I was getting disappointed with not having achieved it. And I think I was going about it the wrong way, in more of sort of an action sense, whereas Ashraf's teachings supported me more than anything else to get to where I am now. And I feel like this is just the beginning, and I think there's more to go from here.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Sundus. I think what I'm hearing you say is that the listeners, that they can do it, they can apply themselves, and how the teaching supported you, they can also apply, use it to support them, and they can follow their passion as well. And you've shown us the investment that you've put in yourself and on this journey, and others can do that. So so thank you so much, listeners. That was Sundus. And I'm looking forward to, the listeners' unrecognizable selves and unimaginable lives soon. So from my side, please accept this as my humble contribution. I'm not an interviewer, nor am I an influencer. It's the first time that I'm actually conducting an interview of this nature. I'm a chartered accountant. I've worked in industry, and I'm currently in academia. And I also am a student of Ashraf Murad, and I believe in his work. We could see it from what Sundus shared with us today. Ashraf's teachings have helped me personally, and has had and continues to have a profound impact on my life. I'm a big supporter of his work, and he has invited me to be part of his Attract Soulful Love premarital education program. And together we believe in the potentials and we believe in the possibilities of progressive women to enjoy personal and spousal satisfaction so as to live a fulfilling experience of life. I really admire women who are progressive, and I stand for women who are progressive. And this is why I'm doing this. And I do this because I've benefited from Ashraf's work, as I said, and I've seen other progressive women like Sundus. What we've heard today, she's benefited tremendously from Ashraf's work, and we want to see more progressive women benefit from Ashraf's work. So listeners, if you have any questions for Sundus or for me, or if there's anything you want to know more about, you can send me an email at Rabia. Okay, let me repeat the email account. So the email is rabia@ashrafmurad.com. So I'm just going to spell it out. It's RABIA at ASHRAFMOORAD.com. And if you want to learn more about Ashraf's work, you can follow him on his social media accounts. On Instagram, his main account is ashraf.murad.tblt, and his other account is attract_soulful_love. You can also follow me on my Attract Soulful Love account. It's attract_soulful_love_Rabia. And you can also follow Ashraf on his Facebook accounts. The one account is the Blissful Living Teachings, and the other account is Attract Soulful Love. So I wish you all the very best. Bye for now.